Hellgate London. When is it coming out?
This summer, when it's warmer, which will be good. But yeah, we're pushing right now. We've got meeting all of our internal dev timelines to have the game out this summer. And it's exciting. You know, the end of the tunnel is in sight. So everybody's working hard, and we're really excited to be moving into beta testing really soon.
Can you give us like the lowdown of the online?
Sure, I'll do my best as much as I can. We're still looking at each market, you know, and determining what the best model is. But it's maybe better to describe everything overall. You know, Hellgate London is kind of a hybrid in terms that it's both a single-player game and an MMO. So you can get the game, you know, take it home. Don't even need internet access if you don't have it, or don't want to go online and play with people for whatever reason that is, and you get a full like 30 to 40 hour story-driven RPG experience. When you go online, you really get a whole new massive amount of things that you're getting when you go online. But that content is staged. We wanted people to be able to go online and have that same type of free play experience like they did with Diablo 2. So that's really was our first focus. Is like how can we support that? How are we going to be able to do that so people can go online, have that free experience, hook up with their friends, try the game out online, and so we will have that in the game, which I think is kind of an important message that's gotten kind of lost in the shuffle. Beyond that, we really want to have a lot of things that are kind of maybe more in think of as a Premier Plus area service. So and that's in every single way possible. That's everything from skills to monsters to items to areas to play in to different gameplay modes to even character classes. All these different things that we're doing tons of continuing content with that not only is there from day one with the game, but then the fact that we'll maintain a full team that's on the game from day one moving forward. Not only addressing things like balancing tweaks and bugs and everything that we would be doing anyway, but more importantly, all new things for players to do. It was a huge thing that we got asked for back in the Diablo 2 days. People said, we love playing the game, we just spend hours and hours and hours and days and years even playing the game, and we just really wish there was more and more and more. So we wanted to be able to create a way with the mechanics of the game and the way that development works, and then also being able to try to find some kind of business model to support that. So what exactly the business model is, we're still working with, for example, Namco and EA across the Americas and Europe to determine what the best way to do that is, because the main goal is that we're able to have the same dedication to the product and to maintaining the life of Hellgate London as our gamers do in playing it.
How many classes can we expect? And I was very intrigued by the third class you introduced that has more of a skill-based combat, and how is that going to add up in the balance of the multiplayer game?
Well, actually, it's kind of interesting. We first started kind of calling them classes, and what they ended up being was factions. So we have the Templar, the Kabbalist, and the Hunter. The Templar are very melee-oriented. The Kabbalist, more of the spell-casting faction. And then the Hunters are kind of representing, almost in terms of just pure gameplay mechanic, putting that mixing of an RPG with FPS elements. Within each of the factions, there's multiple character classes. Tonight at the event, we're showing off two of the Templar classes, which are the Guardian and the Blade Master. So even though they're both fit within the Templar paradigm of being melee characters, they're very, very different here. The Blade Master is all about pure offense, dual-wielding swords, doing absolutely much damage as possible, combination attacks, chaining together all different kinds of combat maneuvers, whereas the Guardian is about, high armor class, shields, having use of shield skills, fighting as many enemies as possible, actually gaining more power the more enemies they fight at one time, having short area of effect skills and spells they can cast. And so basically, they represent really different types of gameplay mechanics and also different and play styles and what's important to them stat-wise and equipment-wise and things. Each of the factions will have multiple classes. We're kind of like bleeding that out over the next few weeks and months as we get to the summer, showing that off. But it's something that we want to make sure that every faction plays extremely differently, and then within each of the factions, the classes play differently. So the Hunters, which you asked about, for example, very much driven towards, even though it's still an RPG and we care about your level and the monster level and the items you have and the skills you've chosen, there actually is a premium that gets placed, especially at higher and higher levels as you put more and more into certain stats and skills on your personal ability as a player. So we know that there's this desire to, because we have this great 3D engine that has a really very cool first-person mode, is that players want to have that FPS gameplay feel. But we think that for FPS players who want to check the game out, there's a lot there they've never seen before. They're going to have a persistent avatar. They're going to have skills they're going to be able to get. Tons of items. Instead of 8 guns and 3 different grenades, there's over 100 base weapons in the game that have dozens of different types of ways you can modify the weapons and enhance them, and they're magical. And so really what they're going to get is that FPS mechanic that they love, but wrapped around this big full-blown action RPG that I really think will give them an amazing experience that they're going to really love.
Okay, thank you for your time. I think it's time to wrap up now.
Great, thank you. Happy you came out.